Welcome back. Now, Namibia welcomed Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on a historic state visit today, the first by an Indian Prime Minister since 1998. Namibia and India share long-standing ties dating back to our independence struggle, and this visit signifies a renewed commitment to strengthening that relationship. Now, to break it down, we are joined by the Press Secretary to the President, Dr. Alfredo Hengari. Dr. Hengari, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Nina. It's indeed a pleasure for me to be here.
Thank you so much for your time this evening. Well, as I mentioned, this is the third and the first in nearly 3 decades that an Indian Prime Minister has visited Namibia. But I want to understand what factors, led to this 27-year interval since 1998 and why, today's visit is strategically important right now.
Today's visit, state visit by the Prime Minister of India, Honorable Narendra Modi, who is the head of government of the Republic of Namibia, is of historic significance. And President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, who was the gracious host of the Prime Minister, underlined that fact. It's her first visit by a head of government. So that in itself is important. And it underlines the strong bonds of friendship that our president has established with the Republic of India. India is the 4th largest economy in the world. It's the world's most populous country. It's a large country as well, but it's also the largest democracy in the world. And it's a country that played a very important role in supporting Namibia's cause for liberation. 35 years later, this visit by the Prime Minister underlines not only the historic ties, but also cast a new vision for the future. And both President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah and Prime Minister Modi demonstrated that today with the state visit, where a number of agreements were signed to strengthen the already existing bilateral cooperation, which is at a very sound level. Trade between Namibia and India is well over $10 billion Namibian dollars, and cooperation in a number of areas has been strengthened over the past 35 years. India plays a very important role in building the capacities of Namibians as a young democracy in the areas of diplomacy, defense, you name them. It's a whole panoply of arrangements that govern these very solid relations which have grown over the years from strength to strength.
Now, Honorable Prime Minister Modi, of course, is only here on a one-day state visit, and his itinerary was jam-packed from what we saw, across the different media outlets as they were covering it. Talk to us about what transpired today.
The PM arrived very early in the morning and was hosted at the State House by our president. They held a tete-a-tete where they discussed a number of issues, but most importantly, the two leaders underlined the importance of implementing agreements and frameworks that have been agreed to by the two countries. President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah has always been saying that value addition is very important for job creation. If Namibia exports raw materials, it means we're exporting jobs. So the question of cooperation with India to strengthen our capacities for in value addition in a number of sectors, including agriculture, during the tete-a-tete and also the official talks that were led by President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Subsequent to that, a number of agreements were signed. for in total to augment already a growing list of agreements and memorandum of understanding that exists between Namibia and India in a number of sectors. Today, the focus was on health, as well as biofuels, entrepreneurship, and also building climate resilient disaster risk frameworks. Namibia is, as you know, is a country that is prone to drought, and in order to mitigate against the worst effects of drought, we need infrastructure that is resilient to droughts. The president has also been emphasizing on entrepreneurship, and India is a country that is fairly advanced in some of those areas. With global champions, some of them that are here in Namibia, like Tata, Mahindra. You have all these companies that are based here in Namibia. So the focus is for us as a country to strengthen capacities in that area, to enable young Namibians to become entrepreneurs, create jobs, and to grow the economy.
Yeah.
Namibia is also a country that is increasingly focusing on new forms of energy, and the question of biofuels is quite important, biomass and so on. So you have a whole range of agreements that were signed today, and as I've said, to augment those that exist already in the areas of technological innovation, digital finance, energy, and so on.
Of these many memorandums of understanding which were agreed upon today, give us a brief understanding of what they entail, the most significant ones, and of course, at the end of the day, how this benefits the Namibians.
I've spoken about the entrepreneurship to strengthen our capacities for innovation in entrepreneurship. And I've also spoken about biofuels. I've spoken about disaster risk, resilient infrastructures. These are important for the ordinary Namibians in the sense that capacity building is quite important. It's an enabler for development. It's an enabler for innovation. And as I've said, when as a country, you receive a state visit from a giant like India, which, as I've said, is the fourth largest economy. It's the world's most populous country. So it demonstrates the impact of a country like Namibia. So therefore, for Namibians, today is a day of immense pride, in the sense that the first state visit to the Republic of Namibia under the administration of President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah is from a country like India, which, as I've said, has not only demonstrated friendship with Namibians during a difficult period, that of the liberation struggle, but also played an outsized role over the past 35 years to help Namibia achieve its developmental objectives.
With this successful conclusion of the historic visit that has taken place today, talk to us about what steps will be taken, by both the Namibian and the Indian government to ensure that the momentum of this is sustained. Are there any follow-up mechanisms or high-level exchanges that will still be taking place after this, to solidify it and give concrete outcomes to both Namibia and India?
Yes, both President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah and Prime Minister Narendra Modi reminded senior officials during the official talks that implementation is key. And there is a meeting of minds between President Nandi-Ndaitwah and Prime Minister Modi about the importance of taking concrete actions, taking agreements forward. And when one looks at the history of relations between Namibia and India, over the past 35 years, agreements have been activated. We have seen tangible implementation of some of these agreements. And going forward, I forgot to mention the agreement in the area of health, which the President has prioritized, especially domesticating capacities in this country so that the health sector can be served, pharmaceuticals can be sourced from within the country by being manufactured here, and also cutting costs by procuring directly from manufacturers. I think that's another critical area that was highlighted today. And our president is a leader of action, is a leader who's focused on the finer details, a leader who believes in following up on what has been done and not done. Namibians should be rest assured that the agreements that were signed today will be implemented and tangible action will be taken in order to improve the lives of Namibians, because that's the focus of the president, is to ensure that every agreement that is signed between Namibia and other countries translates tangibly into improved livelihoods for Namibians. And I think I must also mention here that our two leaders, President Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, also agree on the challenges in the global arena, and both demonstrated, they continue to demonstrate a commitment to a multilateral order. They reformed the Security Council and they host a number of issues where India, as a member of the G20, as well as the BRICS country, is playing a pivotal role in supporting countries of the global south, of which Namibia is an active participant.
Well, Dr. Hengari, as always, it's a pleasure having you with us. We do appreciate your time. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Well, we've got one more conversation coming up after this very brief break. Do stay with us here on the Daily Roundup.